All right, so we are going to continue our analysis and visualization of that data, and to also let us know that there is a scenario 3 which we are going to introduce today. Maybe shortly after this, we are going to get a scenario 3 which we will now use to end our session on Thursday. Note that our session is going to end on Thursday, and we hope we would have been able to touch some basic things that we outlined, and that is structuring data, analyzing data, and then visualizing it. All right, so this was where we stopped last weekend, and today what we want to do is we want to now look at the third, we are going to look at the third component of filter. We looked at the insert slicer. This is the slicer over here, which we use to filter and view each of the states in our own case now. And last week, we explained how this is able to pick the values. I mean, this right up here, we will click rivers, it shows river states, sales report. So today, what we want to look at, we want to be looking at the timeline, which is for date. So that's what we are going to look at. So we can come here and click date. And then this gives us the visuals, the visualization of when we include the date for rivers. Of course, you know, there are 5 days. There are 5 days, I guess, 6th. Okay, now let's look at the table. Let's look at the pivot table. So you see the way it is arranged here. For each of these dates, we have, this is selected. Remember, our selection using the slicer is looking at rivers. So we have for each of their staff, these are their respective sales. So we want to look at how we'll be able to look at each state, and then rather than looking at the individual staff, we want to look at the date. So let's delete this, and then let's insert our timeline and its date. So this is what we have. So right now, every one of them is highlighted. I think it was June. Okay, there is no, I think all of them are in June. Okay, so what we want to look at, we'll be looking at individual dates, because in our original scenario, the narrative says there are 5 different days. I think that started from the 7th. I think that was the 7th, yeah. So now let's go back to our table and see the dates. So we have 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11, 5 days, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for every one of them. Now we need to look at the grouping. The date we need to group. So I'm going to right click under the date here, and I'm coming to group. Let's see what we have. So we have months selected. Now, as we toggle between these options, that's by, let's see how this play out here under column A, under for the date. We are going to include this, and we okay it. So for each month now, we have the specific days here. If that is what we want, we leave it that way. If we want to look at inclusive of quarters, in this case, what we are dealing with does not involve quarters. It's just within a month. I think just 5 days between 7th and 11th. But assuming that your data covers several months in a year or 2 years, and then you can click quarter, and then for each year, it will show you the data for each quarter in that year. Okay, so this is something you can try out at your own leisure when you are practicing. But for today, let's just work with the days and the months. Now let's go back to our dashboard. Then we are going to click also the days. So if I say this is June, and the first day, we don't have any sales because the date started on the 5th. Is it 5th or 7th? I think it's 7th. So this is the sales on the 7th for each staff in the state. We click it, it shows us. Now, in our advanced training for visualization, we show how you'll be able to identify the best chart for every kind of data. For this kind of one, line charts are better. Line charts are better because it shows you a trend along those dates. So we can change our date, our chart type by right-clicking there, and let's say we want to choose line. So it goes this way. If we like, we can also decide to get the one that has markers. So we click this, we can pick this. See this one with markers. And it gives you the point where those values lie. And again, we can decide to click. This is for 8, 9. This is for the sales for that day. So what we want to achieve today, we want to have all the 3 states reports so that we can also compare them. We want to see them on separate places. So again, what we need to do is let's go back to our pivot table. And if we like, we can copy this out. We can copy this out, paste it somewhere, and then now let's pick this. I've copied this. So let me paste this one here. So we need to insert a pivot chart on this one. Again, let's choose this one. Let me take this one to the dashboard. So we can do this, all that we did on the other one. Let's change this thing to, let's change it to line chart. We're looking for the marker. Okay. Just trying to create space. Okay. Now let's see if this timeline is connected to this. Okay, so we don't have anything there. This is for 6th. We didn't have any sales there, but for 7th, we had sales. And let's see, this is for the same state. So this is just like, it's a duplicate of what we have here. Now, let's see what we can do. Please, can we mute our mics? Okay, we want to create separate reports for each state. And then we connect that with the date timeline, so that when we click on any date, each of these will show the reports for each of those states. So that's what we are going to do. Now, this one, let's give it a name. Let's give this as Bayelsa sales. Then this one, let's give it to Rivers sales. Let's go and get another one. And let's get a pivot chart from here. Sorry. Let's get.
Is that makes more about fine, or will you take golden one? Who wants to be wasting gas?
It's off.
Please.
Okay, so sorry for that. Let's go to our dashboard. And again, let me capture space. Sorry. What happened? Okay, I want to insert a pivot chart, which is this. Okay, go to the dashboard. Let me paste it here. So I'm going to rename this one now. We have Rivers. This one is which one? Bayelsa. This one should be, which one again? Rivers, Bayelsa, and which one? Akwa Ibom, yes. Akwa Ibom sales. Okay, let's remove horizontal primary. Let's give data labels. Let's remove the grid lines. Let's do the same thing here. I like to remove this. I like to remove grid lines. And I like to add data labels. And again, for this one, let's change the data series to line. Let's choose this. Okay. So we need to, if we remember what we did last week, where we last week, what did we do that I wanted to mention now? Let's rename this. Last week we discussed how we're able to link this to pick reports from here. So we can do that again for here. So I need to shift this to somewhere here. Then here, we are going to say this is concatenate. We'll concatenate this, the state.
Sorry, we can't see the screen. It's by the side, so we can't really see what you're doing.
Is it okay now?
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. So let me remove this. So we want to concatenate so that this will pick whatever that is here. And then nobody asked me a question about concatenation. So I am happy that we all picked that. So sales report here, I close. So this is now for this. So here, the first one we did was for rivers. Then this second one, we named it for what? This one. This second one is Bayelsa. So we are going to change this one to Bayelsa, not rivers. Okay, Ebuka, your hand is up.
Yes, sir, yes.
Okay.
Sir, I want to ask, can I have the video of this trend after the end of today?
Sure,
Because
we always share it.
Okay, sir, thank
We
you.
always share it. Are you in the WhatsApp group?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we usually will share it there.
Okay, thanks, sir.
All right, you're welcome. So this is now Bayelsa. We have changed. Okay, two hands are up again. Please go ahead.
Sir, I want to ask about concatenate that you mentioned earlier. What is the essence of it, please?
To concatenate is a function in Excel where you join the contents of different cells into one cell. You can also concatenate by typing. So if you see what we did here, here is G3, it has Bayelsa, and then here, sorry, D here, which is common, D here is the sales report. So I use concatenate to join this and this to give me this. This was the same thing we did here to get for Bayelsa, for rivers, and now we have done this one to get for Bayelsa. We are again going to do another one here. Let's say here is concatenate. So what is the
for
first
Akwa
text?
Ibom?
Yeah, so we want to do for Akwa Ibom right now. So I'm going to say here, because we'll still change this to Akwa Ibom. Then comma, the next one is a space. So because we are typing it, we are not making reference to a cell. We are going to put it in double quotation. Then I put the space bar, I close it, and then I confirm that I've ended that text. So the next one is this sales report. Then I close my bracket, and there we go. So all I need to do is to change this one to Akwa Ibom. Yes, and then it picks that up here.
Okay.
So the next thing we need to do now is to link them. So you can see already that this has changed now. If we click this one, this has changed to Bayelsa. This Bayelsa state, you can see the name of this chart here. The same thing here. This has changed to Akwa Ibom. But just like this is showing, this title is showing the rivers, the respective state report, we need to do the same so that each of them will be picking the state name. So what we need to do here is the chart title. So I'm going to link it by saying equals. So I come over to this point, And I hope that one is Bayelsa. So here, and then it picks it. So if I go back to my chart, this is Bayelsa, this is also Bayelsa. So we do the same thing here. We click this chart title, we come to the formula bar, we type equals, which means we want it to pick a value from somewhere. So when we come to where that is, we click here, we enter, and then it picks that up. Okay, so let me take away this. So what we need to do is we can on the 8th, this was the sales for each. Let's have this like this. So if I'm making a presentation for this organization, this is what I would like to show. And I would just want to find out if there's any particular trend on the days of the sales. Okay, so let me see if this can be bigger. Okay, so for these, if I choose on the 8th of, on the 9th of June, these are the respective sales. For Debbie in Rivers State, these were the sales, these were the sales for each of those staff. Same thing here, the same thing here. So I'm able to use filter and timeline to connect my reports for each of the states. As you can see, if I was to make a presentation, I will want everyone to look at what is unique on each day. How are they moving? Okay, so these are the things we can look at. I studied this, and what I discovered were those that the ladies had better sales, number one. Number two, the days that favored sales were towards the weekend. So let me just, for clarity's sake, I'm going to get, we started on 7th June 22. So let me increase. Okay, I need to bring out something back. Let me bring my headers back so that I can use it to expand this. What I'm going to do right now is to make this one full date. I want to, a long date rather, long date. Where's my long date? Long date. So it's telling me this is Tuesday. Up to 11th day is Sunday. So these were the days that we had sales. Okay. So these were the days that the sales were made for each state. So 9th is Thursday. So these were the respective sales. You will see those ones that are high on the 9th day or each day. Let's start from 7th. On the 7th, this is a lady, this is a lady, this is a lady. Okay, all these 1, 2, 3, 4, they were ladies. And all of them sold higher than this male, except, okay, sorry, this is John, this is a male. So you see that all the ladies sold higher. Deborah said Debbie sold 964. Grace sold 1833. Even this one that dropped to 1025 is Hawa. But John sold 606. And then Victor sold 825. So the male were the lowest here. Over here, okay, we had Lawrence, 933. Now, can we see what Lawrence showed on as the days go by? On the 8th, Lawrence decreased. But what happened to the others? Let's see what we had on 8th. Okay, I think virtually every one of them decreased in Bayelsa State. So data analysis helps you to look out for a trend once you are able to visualize it. Okay, so this is what we want us to see. Okay, beyond 11th, no sales. Beyond 11th, no sales. Now, assuming we were told that more sales came in where is a South-South data set. More sales came in after 7th. I'm trying to find out if this is, where is our table? Does anybody remember where our tables, where we dropped our table? Okay, now, I want to find out. I can't find that here now. Can anybody give me an idea how we can find that our table? Does anybody know? Okay, see, one way that we can go to where?
To view.
View, okay. This is view. Okay, sometimes.
The sheets.
Yes, these are the sheets. So I'm trying to find out. I know it's somewhere here, but I don't know if I have covered it or if I have hidden it in any.
Okay.
I know it's somewhere. So what we can do is we can pick any of those pivot table and go to source. Say, for instance, let's use, okay, let's use this one. This is not the one we did today. Where are those ones we did today? I think we did some here. Okay, so for instance, this one, we can decide to go to this point. Say we want to change source. It will bring it. See where it is hidden. It's in South-South data set. So this is where the table is. So all I needed to do was just to find this place. And now I found it. I'm going to cancel. So it's here. I think what happened was because of the filtering we applied here has hidden it. So all we need to do, go back to our dashboard, come to 7th. Now let's see if it is out again. Okay. It's somewhere here. That's all I know. We found it. So it's hidden because of these filters that we applied here. So what I wanted to do was, assuming that we have an update. Okay. Please note that the changes that we are going to make will affect this. Okay, so it's just for us to understand how we got to this point, but let me just make this change. Okay, even on over there, sorry, over on our dashboard, I can delete this one, let all of them come on board. So you see, this is for each of them. This is the line chart for every one of them. Right now, we have not applied any slicer here. Let's select all here. And that is hidden again. Okay. I don't know what I need to do now so that I won't scatter this to a very great extent. Let me go back here and see to change our source. South. Okay, South query. It's South query. See over here. So assuming now we have okay, this wasn't where we started from. Let's go to our table, the main table. Okay, so this is the table where we worked on. Good. So assuming we had, let's say, let me increase this too. I haven't done this before, but it's something that we may try. I want to insert okay. So what we have here is, this is 11th, 12th. No, what we have, this is 12th June 22, 13th June 22. I want to do the same here, insert to the left. So we just want to add more sales. And when we update our, when we update our table, let's see if this is going to pick up the values. So I'm going to use a random number, let's say between 890 to 1999. Same thing here, the same thing here. All right, so here, I'm just going to fix this. So don't worry about these things I'm doing. These are functions that you use to generate random numbers. And so after generating that, I don't want it to keep changing. So I'm trying to fix them. So I'm going to save. And then let me go to my query. This is my South query. I just want to see if it's going to pick that date. This is my, okay, let's refresh and see. Did it pick that? Like I say, I haven't done this before, so I wouldn't know if it's going to pick the 12th. Okay, yes, it did. Okay, so you see this one is 13th. This is 13th. This is 13th. That's great. Here's another 13th, which means it picked it up. So right now, assuming we were giving additional sales, they say, okay, sorry, the report we gave you was not complete. Here is a complete one. And then the only difference was additional 3 days. So all you needed to do is just go straight to your tables, include them in your tables, come to the Power Query, and then refresh your Power Query table, because this is deriving its data from those tables that we just amended. So when we go back to our dashboard here, we need to refresh again. So let's refresh. Remember that, let's say, for instance, this one now here, it stopped at 11th. So we want to refresh. It has increased to 12 and 13, those extra days for each of them with their respective data. So now let's go to our dashboard. See, it has also updated with the new updates. Again, so if we want now, we can now go back and then insert a timeline for date. And there we have this. Okay, let's see. We only need date. All right, so this is June. Okay, this is our June. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. Now, let's attempt something. We don't want all this. We only want June from 7th, or let's say June, just June. Let's go to our data set. This is the date. Let's right click, go to group. Let's see, this is starting from this and ending from this. Okay, yeah. I want to see what we can do to reduce those ones. Our starting date is 7th June to 14th, okay? So we don't have any problem from here. Okay, while I think of what to do, because personally I don't like all this here, I think there's a way to remove the unnecessary months. So I would like to stop here and then give us time to practice. Let's say in the next 10 minutes, let's see if we can insert the different graphs and then insert our timeline. So if there are any questions, please ask or raise your hand. If there are not, we take the next 10 minutes to do that. Okay, Ebuka, your hand is up. Please go ahead. Ebuka, please go ahead and speak. Hello, can anybody hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
Okay, yeah.
Hello.
We can
You
hear
can go
you.
ahead.
We can hear you.
Okay,
Okay,
please
you
go
said
ahead,
something
Ebuka.
about, you said that you people started this in last week Thursday, and I'm not there when you people started. I need the, can I get the video?
Okay, yes, you will get the video.
Okay, because this is like, so anyway, I'll get, let me, if I get the video, I'll know what I will do.
Okay, no problem. I will share with you. So any other hand up? Okay, the practice file, it's, okay, maybe we'll share it again. Please, Aisha, okay, you just joined today. Are you in the WhatsApp group? Okay, we shared it there. Let's look for it. Hello, Roy, are you here?
Yeah.
Okay, please share that, reshare it in that group again. The Excel 25-2 scenario 2 data structure answer. Share it back again in the group so that those who don't have it can have it. Okay, so since there are no more questions, let's come back. We're not leaving it, but just we are coming back to discuss again. We are coming back from our practice session. Let's say 5 minutes past 9. 5 minutes past 9. We'll come back. We'll convene again.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. So welcome back to the session and from the break. And we would have loved, okay, you meet up and practice tomorrow. Okay, your battery is low. That's fine. Would have loved to give some people time and opportunity to tell us their experiences so that we know how to proceed. So, but so far, we've been able to create dashboard that are connected. So here, I deleted the timeline and created a new one, and then it's no longer connected. It's only connected to this one here. So this is all sales reports. So let's go back to, where is the all sales reports? Here, okay. We need to select only rivers. I think this is the rivers. Let's see if that is back. It's back, rivers. So no sales on. So this is showing for rivers on this date. And what other filter is here? The rest are showing for all the dates, but this is only showing what we have here. So if I remove this, we have noise from somewhere. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is we disconnected this. So we need to reconnect them back. And the way to do that is, first of all, we need to find out what are the names of the respective pivot tables that gave birth to this pivot chart. So this one, let's see the connection. This is connected. Where is my timeline? Is connected to this organ table. The sheet is called South-South data sheet, and the pivot table is called organ table. So let's go to South-South data sheet. South-South data sheet. Now let's see if this is the name. Let's see the name of the table, pivot table. See it here, this is the one that is connected. So this is for rivers, while this is for Bayelsa. Bayelsa was the name. I think let's call them Bayelsa, their state, Bayelsa. And then this one, since we have decided to use, let's say, use states, this is rivers, Bayelsa, and then this one is Akwa Ibom. So now let's go back to our dashboard. Here on our dashboard, we want to connect them back. So we use our timeline. This is our report connector. So right now it's only connected to rivers. So we are connecting it to Bayelsa. We're also connecting it to Akwa Ibom. We okay it. So let's see how it goes. See, it's back the way it was before. So on the 7th, these were the respective sales for each of them. All right, so this is all that we are going to do for our dashboard reports and connection. Okay, so like I said in the beginning, there is a new scenario, and I think I would want us to look at the case. We are going to share that in the WhatsApp group. We're going to share that in the WhatsApp group, and then let us have our views. But I'm going to project that scenario and read it to our hearing. Okay, let me just get that scenario 3. Scenario 3, good. So now we have this scenario 3. It's a medical outreach that happened in December 2021. That was a maiden edition. At outset, it was planned that 500 patients will be reached. And it's going to be for 1 day. It's a 1-day activity. In the course of the planning, 15 medical doctors were recruited, 10 nurses were recruited, and 2 medical students were also recruited to support the activity. At the end of the 1-day activity, 252 patients were attended to. A few of them could not receive medication. Why? Because of stockouts. Drugs that were dispensed during the outreach were documented and entered on a spreadsheet. Now, at the end of the outreach, inventory was taken, and it was discovered that some drugs were not used. The value of the drugs not used was 123,000 naira. Of course, at this point, you begin to reason what could have happened. Some people didn't receive drugs, but yet some drugs were left. Obviously, the thing was not planned based on data. So in this new year, in December, the organization is planning to hold another medical outreach. And this time around, it's desirous to reach the 500 patients. Now, this was the budget for the first one. So somebody, maybe either somebody or a group of people spoke to the organization that this money they spent, they could have utilized it very well if they had planned very well, and they would have achieved more with this same budget. And so the organization said, well, this time around, we are going to still use the same amount of money that we invested for the whole project. We are still going to use it, but now we'll be more efficient. Now, we have been called to look at the drug aspects. 556,000 naira. But now they want to reach 500 persons. If the drugs had not finished in the maiden edition, they probably would have reached more than the number they reached. So what do you think we can do considering this? I just want us to think, let's brainstorm, and then we will now approach it together, maybe by next 2 days on Thursday. Can anybody give us an example of what we should be looking out for? You know, at the beginning of this training, we told us that to be able to analyze effectively, you need to have critical thinking skills, problem solving skills, critical reasoning. So what kind of things should come to our mind to help this organization? They believe that there are better ways that this would have happened, and they want us to help them. So what will be our advice? We're just brainstorming. If you want to speak, you can raise your hand, or if you want to send a chat, your response via a chat, that's fine. We have 12 minutes more to go. So I believe we can discuss and chat our way forward. Does anybody have any Does anybody have any suggestion on what we need to do? Okay. I think one of the things to do is to look at the patients, see the categories of complaints so as to guide the drugs to get for the outreach. This is good. We need to look at what was prescribed based on the conditions that they presented. Okay, so we did that. And let me see if that slide is here. Let me see if that is here. Okay, it's not in this one. Yes, we did that. So let me get it and see. So that's a good one. I'm trying to get, okay. I'm going to show us the drugs that were dispensed. And okay. So Kayode, thanks for giving us that cue. So this was what we did. And we had all these patients who came. These were their unique numbers. These were their ages and their sex. Then for each of them, some of them had up to 4 drugs prescribed for them. Some of them had up to 9 drugs. We discovered that some, like this person here, had 9 drugs prescribed for them. And then at the end of it all, this is what we did. So who can tell us what else to do at this point? What feature or operation do we need to apply? All we need to do now is to bring all these drugs under one column. Does anybody want to give a bite?
Concatenation.
What do you want to concatenate here?
Since we are bringing them under one
column. Okay.
Concatenate it like you did earlier.
Pivot table.
Okay. Yes, before we get to pivot table, we actually will need pivot table to do the analysis. But there's something we need to do before getting to the pivot table.
Can we do their frequency distribution to know which of the drugs is most prescribed?
Please, what is the question?
Okay, the question is, we have identified the drugs prescribed for each patient.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we need to do now is to arrange all of them under one column so that we can have a column, yes, that has all the list. And then we'll be able to do the frequency table that somebody suggested a while ago. But okay, Kayode was one. So we need to get to a point. Somebody has said convert to table form. Yes, that is the step to go from here. So we can convert this to table. All right, now, so let's convert this to table. And let me select all of them. Control T, my table. Let's be sure that everything here is selected. Yes, and then we have our table with headers. Great. So we have converted this to table. We are going in the right direction. So what else do we need to do? What else do we need to do? This step has helped us to achieve something.
Column
did-
2.
Okay. What we need to do is to remember these are headers which should ordinarily come under one heading. So we can unpivot this when we go to our Power Query. Okay, so let's go to Power Query. We are coming under data here. This is where we are going to work on. So we are going to get our data from a table or range. So we click this. And then because it is a table, we had already converted it to a table and we clicked on the table to get the data. We are here right now. So where we are interested in now is drug 1, drug 2, drug 3. Starting from here, drug 1 up to drug 9. So we hold our shift together, we click this. Then we need to unpivot them, unpivot columns. So all of them are now under one column. We don't really need this for now. Our focus is on these 2 columns. So we can decide to delete all these ones if they are making our table to be very busy. So we have selected all the tables that we are not interested in. Okay, so we are going to remove these columns, remove them. So we have just 2. So we can rename them. So this just tells us that all the drugs, we have brought them under the same header so that we will count how many times each drug occurs. You will know that if it occurs 5 times, it means 5 persons were prescribed that. If it occurs 10 times, 10 persons were prescribed that medicine. Any questions so far?
So you unpivoted the table.
Yes, I joined all those ones, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, up to 9th.
Okay, so
Because
once you
those ones-
unpivot, everything will now fall into place.
Yes, those ones, yes, those ones that you selected and unpivoted, you are bringing them under one header.
Mhm. Okay, the rows.
Yes.
Please, can you review it again?
Okay,
Unpivoted.
I'm going to undo from this apply step here. This is the documented steps that we took. So first, the last one we did was to remove the column. So I'm going to undo that. It brings us back here, unpivot them, change type. So, okay, so let me just exit this Power Query. And I'm not interested in keeping it, so I'm going to discard it. Now, this is what we have. Maybe if we can just explain what we want to achieve, it will help our understanding. What we want to do is, for us to do frequency, it will be easier for us to bring all these ones under here. Carry the 3rd drug, put on down here. Carry the 4th one, put under here. So that one whole column will contain all the drugs that were ever prescribed during this outreach. Now, for each person, you will see that it is not, let me not say it's not possible, but it is not common to see that the same drug is prescribed here. Let's say this omeprazole is prescribed here, and then somewhere along for this same patient, the same drug was prescribed. It is not a good practice. Why would you prescribe this for the same person on the same prescription? So if we see omeprazole 2 times, that means it was prescribed for 2 patients. If we see amoxil here, it is not, if we see more than 1 amoxil, it is not, 2 are not prescribed for 1 patient. Rather, the next time we see it, it is prescribed for somebody else. So when we bring them together, each entry of the drug is telling us that 1 person was prescribed. If we see 10 ibuprofen entries, that means it was prescribed to 10 patients. If you see artemether lumefantrine 15 times in our data, it means artemether lumefantrine was prescribed for 15 persons. So with that understanding, we want to bring all these ones under 1 column so that we can use pivot table and say, count how many omeprazole we're given, count how many amlodipine that we have in the list. And that will give us the number of people or patients that were prescribed that. So if we have that understanding, we can now go to our Power Query to bring these things under 1 column. I need to pause here because it's time. Let us just think through this, and then we may revisit this on Thursday and use it to conclude the series. So do we have any questions? Any questions so far?
No, maybe when you share the recording now, so that we'll see how to unpivot the.
Okay, that's fine. So I will just rush through this because of the recording slide to be clearer, and I will go slower. What we need to do to unpivot this is we'll go to data, come to our query. Already we have converted this to table. So when we click here, it just recognizes that we are working on a table, and then the Power Query editor opens up. So we are not interested in all these columns for the work we want to do. So we can do away with any column that we don't want. Remember that once you are working in a Power Query, anything you do on the data that you have loaded, it's not affecting the original data. So what we need to do, we need to select the columns that we are not interested in, to delete them or remove them from here. So having selected the first one, I'm going to hold down my Shift button on my keyboard and then come and select the other ones on this that I don't want. I've made a mistake, so I just need to click from unique and come over to, okay, this is our first drug, so we need it up to this point. So the rest we don't need. All these ones that we have selected, we don't need them. So we are going to remove them. So I come over here, I remove the columns. So the columns that we are interested in now is these ones, the first, second, third, up to 9 drug. So we need them. This is the one we need to unpivot. We want them to come under 1 common column because they are all of the same value. So I've selected all of them. I'm right-clicking to get my unpivot columns. So I'm going ahead to click this, and it has unpivoted them and brought every one of them under one column. If I like, I can rename this. So these are the drugs prescribed. So we can find a name for this, or we'll leave it as attribute. What this is telling us is the item number or whatever, but our interest is on this. So once we are done with this, all we need to do is to load it. I want to load it as a table. So I'm going to close and load it as a table. So this option comes up. This is the table here, and it's going to be on a fresh sheet. So let me okay it. And then it's going to insert it somewhere here. So this is the table now. The table has been created. So I can simply write this as outreach table. So from here now, we can insert a pivot table. Now, I want to do one very last operation so that I will show us something. If we have this, let me insert pivot table here. For the sake of this exercise, I'm going to drop it here. Like I had said before, it's good to always put it outside. But now, under my attribute, let me take my attribute to filter, and I'm going to select one, let's say first drug, and let me bring the drug here. So these are all the drugs prescribed under first. So if I go back to this clean data, these were the drugs here. So these are the drugs prescribed as first drug.
Mm.
There are over 200 and something, but some of them are repeated. Because some of them are repeated, it just tells us that anytime it is repeated, it's for another person. If it is repeated 5 times, 5 different persons were prescribed this medicine.
That's first line of treatment. Okay.
Yes, first drug. You know, in a prescription, they will say number 1, paracetamol, number 2, amoxicillin. So the first one, the serial numbers on the prescription are those ones we label as first, second, third drug prescribed. So we can now find out from here again and say, under our drug, let's put this under value here. So for this first drug, albendazole was prescribed to 7 persons. Amlodipine was prescribed to 31 persons. So there are different things we can do here in terms of analysis to give us what we want. But I think the most useful one that I will recommend is to get all our drugs under here. This is not, let's take this away. Let's bring our drugs here. So how many times, all in all, did it happen? So this is how it happened. And again, I want to see the percentage of each one. So this is a repetition of this, and I did it for a purpose. So I'm going to right click here, and I want to show the values as a percentage of column total. The reason I want to do is, this is like the frequency which somebody suggested. We have done the frequency, and we know that the total is 976. So what is the proportion? So we might say proportion here. And so the proportion is going to be 20 over 976. So now let me just write somewhere here 20 over 9. This will give us 0.2. If we turn this to percentage, it gives us 2%. So this is what we want to, I'm just doing this so that we understand what I'm going to do when I say show value as this. So of course, this is going to give us 100%. Now, I do not need to do this manually once I'm working on pivot table. All I need to do is here, I will right click, show values as percentage of column total. The column total, what's the percentage for each of them? So I click this. This is the same thing it's giving me. So all I need to do is, because this is no decimal place, if I like, I say my number, percentage, no decimal place. And I'll get the same thing that I got here as here. So these are the same values. So what I need to do now is, let me arrange this. Let me sort it. Let me sort from here. Sorry. Let me sort it from largest to lowest. Sorry. Largest to lowest. So at least this has given me an idea of the drug that was highly utilized compared to the other ones. So these other ones, only one person were prescribed. All these places you are seeing only one patient prescribed. And probably these were the ones that money was spent, but at the end, they didn't use them. So using data now, we can apportion more funds towards these ones here. And in our first case, I talked about Pareto's principle. Identify the 20% of the population that gives you 80% of your value. So if we look at this now, we can say, okay, let's see, we have arranged this now in order, in a descending order. Let's see how many that gives us 80%. So as I'm selecting, I'm looking at it. So at this point here, we have these 12 persons giving us 80%. So out of the entire drugs, remember that all these drugs are unique drugs. So these are the 12. Remember, this is 12. So now if we are to count how many drugs are here all in all, this is 64 drugs, 64 items. And then the first 12 gave us 80% of the value. So what we need to do is to apportion 80% of the budget on this, spread it according to their proportions. They will be able to advise the management, see, spend more money on this because this is where the business is going. For all these ones, we recommend that you don't even buy them, or you can buy two of them. Buying two of them will not really give you, they won't consume much money. Okay, so this is one way to approach this. Thank you very much for your attention. If there are questions, please, we can ask, or we ask in the WhatsApp group. We have exceeded our 90 minutes, and we are sorry for doing that. Any questions? Okay, thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed this. We are going to share the video. Okay, there is a comment. Okay, thank you. We are going to share the video shortly once it's ready.